Thank you for joining, everybody. My name is George Wheeler. I am here with Chuck Andrews, who is on the board of ASIS International and the board of Friends with Chuck. Thank you very much for taking time from your busy day.
Good to be here, George. Yeah.
We really appreciate you being here. And one of the things we'd like to actually talk about ASIS and how ASIS is really continuing to help the industry, the security industry, internationally. I think ASIS, years ago when I first heard about it, it seemed to be very U.S. centric.
Very much so.
But I've seen chapters in pretty much every country now. I've seen CPPs galore coming out of India and several other places. And one thing I know that does is it helps bring standard to the entire industry.
Yes.
Could you please tell us, though, where is ASIS kind of looking forward to in the future for continuing to expand their role within our industry?
So you're going to see with ASIS International a strong case of transparency and international growth with really solid representation. So we're in 141 countries today, right? 241 chapters, 35,000 members. This is the 64th year, right? As we advance security worldwide, the profession and the standard. So we are the gold standard.
Yes, well, absolutely. And one thing that I've always admired ASIS for doing is bringing a standard to the industry, and especially as you transition into those other countries, because if you are a multinational corporation doing business here and in Asia, you want to know that you may not be able to affect the guard at the guard level, how their performance is, but if you can affect the leadership by giving the CTP and the other certifications that you can, they can bring those standards to their guards.
Absolutely. And under our professional certifications board, the CPP, which was the first, right? I think we're up to somewhere like 4,000 to 5,000 CPPs.
Internationally?
Worldwide.
Wow.
Right? And we made a presentation at the opening ceremony showing some people have all three, right? PSP, PCI, and the CPP. They have they're kind of the triples, right? They do well, right? That's a very, very high standard. Around 70,000 people worldwide currently have that standard, and that is the level set for the security industry that is the gold standard.
So another function that ASIS brings are the councils. The councils, are they working with organizations like CTPAT to help bring standards to those organizations?
Yeah, so 32 to 34 different international councils, as you well know, covering different industry verticals, right?
Yes.
From crime prevention, loss prevention, economic crime, we cover the gamut. And as part of it, they become the subject matter experts. There's people sitting on those to help guide and maybe even write a standard, right? An ANSI or ISO standard, right? And there's a process, right? And it starts with that expertise. So as these councils evolve, what you're going to see, they're going to actually become communities of practice. So we're going through a little bit of change, right? So we can be more transparent, right? More beneficial to the dues-paying member and international. We need representation worldwide. You know, in Bangladesh, it means something different than in Houston, Texas.
Absolutely.
Right? But
Absolutely,
we need standards that are going to apply universally or appropriately, right? By geography, law, or as a matter of practice. Or how do you do things, right? And we want to make sure that they have that resource.
And how about lobbying with governments? Having the ability to reach out to a government to affect international law. Is that a job of some of the higher board of directors of ASIS, or do you have councils that actually affect that?
ASIS headquarters staff has some of the A's, right? The lobbyist groups and groups in Washington, D.C., RDCs. We're actually sought at for our input from time to time. Sometimes councils or someone may testify, right, and giving input as it relates to changing laws. We're addressing this actually right now and how we can do a better job on being influencers in industry by being the sounding board for our industry.
So through the years, you've seen this GSX, formerly ASIS conventions, grow tremendously. How have you seen the people who are here displaying, have they changed a lot? Like what's being displayed?
They're getting younger, and I'm getting older, which you can appreciate. Right?
I can.
Listen, we got young professionals, which we emphasize in a very big way. We have the millennials coming through, right? And they'd rather have a meeting on their phone, whereas you and I rather do this old school,
Right.
face to face, right? So that dynamic is changing, and we have to change with that. So we continue to have their interests, so they can advance successfully in this business.
I think they bring a whole new perspective to the industry, things that we wouldn't necessarily think of, but they're also bringing that technology along. And how is ASIS keeping up with that technology part?
So we are, in terms of social media and adapting, all this new technology that is centric to what they like to use, so we can be successful in our communications to them. Otherwise, we won't get them physically to a meeting. Right? So we're experimenting with and trying lots of different things with guidance from the young professionals.
Now, you yourself grew up in the law enforcement industry.
I did.
How did you transition more into the security?
It was easy for me because I was the director of crime prevention, and crime prevention directly relates to security. Right? It's a synonym, if you will.
Yeah.
So when I was out helping businesses not become victims of crime, they're telling me, well, we've got some risk. Risk? Tell me more about that. Oh, well, we write an insurance policy, but then we have these cameras and we get a discount, and we have access control, and oh, look at these hardened locks down the gates guards. Right? So it just made sense. If I was going to be a great crime prevention officer, I had to be a member of ASIS International. Have those relationships, access to the training, and get certified as a CPP. And I actually did that as a law enforcement commander.
So besides this event here, where you're bringing in some of the best speakers, I think, in the world. I know a few years ago I came to one, I think Colin Powell actually speaking, which regrettably I missed him, but that was, when I saw the level of speakers that you bring in. But what other events or other places can people get information about ASIS and get the networking events in?
So where can they get the information?
And the network, events like this where they can network and get information.
So absolutely. So first I tell them the easiest thing to do, and this will check the box for millennials and young professionals, is asisonline.org. That is your resource. And if you're a member, you can log in and set up your profile, and we have something called ASIS Connect, which is our community. And you can actually start a conversation or blog specific to what you need, what you want to learn, who you need to contact. And of course, you can access the membership directory to reach out. So.
Outstanding. Where do you see security going in the next 10 years?
Boy, we could be here a while. So we're going to see more technology. AI is probably artificial intelligence. It's moving quickly. It's pretty intelligent, if you will. So you're going to see that used a lot in decision making. We're going to see technology probably replacing people, not to a degree that's going to cause alarm, right? And really put a dent in the job industry, because somebody's got to maintain that robot, right? Somebody's got to be able to maintain the technology and equipment, right? So we need to make sure people are getting retooled appropriately, right? As you go through this, the security systems integration field. Obviously, when we talk about cyber, everything has a central processing unit. You can't talk about security without speaking outside the guns, gates, guards. You have to add one more gigabytes, right? It's the 4 Gs. So with that, you've got to be well-rounded. So next 10 years, that's what I think you're going to see.
The security industry, if I'm not mistaken, is already short of manpower. So there's more jobs out there available.
Human guarded.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Now cyber, they're in real trouble. The talent is not there. The deficit is just, the numbers are unbelievable. And now there's accelerated programs. What it takes you 4 years to do, you can do in 6 months to a year.
Wow.
Get certified.
And will ASIS be bringing those certification programs to the industry, or is this through like a college?
So, we partner with InfraGard and ISSA, and that's one of the reasons we do that. We have to have that cyber component, right? That digital component available here for both sides of the fence. And through that is knowledge, networking, and education and training, right? So that people are up to speed. Because the risk is just as equal on the digital side as it is on the physical side.
And do you think a lot of people kind of miss let's take the digital world. If a crime happens in the digital world, it's not as noticeable sometimes as the event that we had here in Las Vegas several months ago with the active shooter. So we see that physical side. We still see prominently that physical side of security. Is that one of the reasons why there's a shortage in the cyber part? Maybe just not people understanding how many positions are available and the importance of those.
It's very technical, right? And that requires an education. People who are committed to actually do that. Combined with the fact that it's one of the most rising concerns we have, that velocity cannot keep up, right, with the talent that's being basically churned out, if you will. A 4-year degree program is not going to cut it. You can do what you do in a traditional 4-year academic university in 1 year now with programming. We're going to have to focus on that kind of vocational program, right? And we're going to have to get away from this 4-year program. We can't get enough talent fast enough.
I heard an interesting statistic not too long ago anyways that said by the time somebody graduates their 4-year degree, the information they learned in college is already becoming outdated because technology is changing so fast that when they get out, they have to go through some certification class anyways.
Exactly. That's the other piece of it. You have, once you're in, you have to keep up or you're out. It's just that simple. So when you go out and look for talent acquisition, or you're looking for a subject matter expert, you got to find somebody who can keep up with everything that's going on. If you want them to be effective in your organization, project, or whatever kind of risk you're trying to reduce, you got to have somebody keep up with that. It's very, very difficult because, as you know, living in this world, all this noise, right? It's just like coming from all these different channels. It's overwhelming, right? You got to discern and filter through them. It's hard to do in and of itself, right? It's just like you have 20 news feeds, 15 different ways of people to contact you and keeping up with all this information. I always thank goodness for LinkedIn. It's like, oh, yep, that's George. There's his picture, right? It's a great resource to use.
It is. And you mentioned something interesting. There's a lot of media outlets out there that are putting information out, and then there's a lot of people out there saying they can't trust those media outlets. Is there a place that they can go into the ISIS online and kind of get filtered information?
So ASIS International puts out information, right? But it's more like trust but verify. I don't care where the news source comes from. Because I used to be the news as a law enforcement guy. They couldn't get it right in the media, right? So I'm not a big fan of watching the media. I get my sources through other intelligence sources that are vetted. Everything from smoking gun, you can go out, you need to validate. You go find some sources out there that some people use, right? Smoking gun, or one of the websites to go validate. Snoops, exactly. Go the distance. So many people put stuff on there going, I can't believe this is happening. It's not happening. It's completely fraudulent.
Right. Another thing I also see, if you don't have facts, like if you can source another site like Snopes or Smoking Gun, when you see an article in social media and you kind of just put the other information out there so people can read it without putting your opinion behind it, because some of the comments in social media, they get kind of nasty kind of fast. People are very opinionated these days, and they're very hardline one way or the other, which is unfortunate. But again, that's why I like going to those sites. And then if somebody puts something that's false, a lot of times I'll put it out there, and that's all I'll say is, look, here's some more information. You be the decision whether or not
underlying information.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not truth, not accuracy.
That's right.
Right. It's like I'm going to give you a piece of perception. You interpret. Exactly what it is.
Absolutely. Chuck, I really thank you very much for coming out here today. Is there anything else you'd like to say to anybody?
No, thank you for having out. Have a good show at GSX 18.
Oh, we really appreciate your support and we appreciate being here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.